Good afternoon, everyone. This is Debbie Henderson from Debbie's Designs. Welcome to my afternoon tea time and a card. I'm going to give it a few more seconds for everyone to join me. So I'm trying to get onto my iPad. We used it to travel the other day and my husband is actually signed on to it. And I forgot my password. So let me just try one more time. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to have to go without the iPad. Okay, I don't have my iPad, so I'm just gonna go for it. Welcome to Afternoon Tea Time and a Card. If you are viewing this later on YouTube, this is something that I do every 2 weeks on my Stamp and Ink Designs page on Facebook. So just look for Stamp and Ink Designs and you'll find me on Facebook and just ask to join. So before I get started today, I just wanted to remind everyone I have one more week left for signing up for my Merry Christmas Card Club for the month of February. And I'm using this, for the month of February, the Noble Peacock Specialty Designer Paper. Let me show you that close up, see how pretty that is. And I'm also going to be using the Noble Peacock foil sheets. There's 3 colors. Here are 2 of the cards that are going to be included in my club. And the total, we make 8 cards, 2 of each design. This one has all 3 patterns on it. And then we have some of the epoxy droplets. And then this one also has a little bit of vellum that's embossed on the background. So last day to sign up for that is January 31st. Now, one announcement, and I'm going to get stamping. When I'm done, I have some more swap cards to show you guys. I showed you some last time. I got a whole bunch to show you today. So if you want to stick around after I'm done stamping, we'll look at some swap cards. So today I am using the So Sentimental stamp set. I'm actually using the Sending Healing Hugs. I'm also using... Let me grab the die. This die, I'm going to use this 3 times on all 3 cards today. I'm doing a step it up kind of, somebody, Fern, had asked me to show how to start with a simple card and step it up twice. I'm going to do that. I'm also using Painted Poppies and Peaceful Moments. I'm not using any of the stamp images in Peaceful Moments, but I am using the swirly die. Wait, I'm trying to remember if the swirly dies. No, actually the swirly dies goes in this set. It's very confusing because these kind of work together. There are 2 sets using the Poppy Suite. So let me bring out. This is what my main feature is today. It's the Peaceful Poppies Elements. And I've used quite a bit of them so far. This is my door prize on my business page for the month of January. So somebody will win this once January is over with. So you can see I used quite a bit of these. These just pop out and you'll see more. You see the ones that I popped out here. We have some black ones that are clear embossed on the black. So we got quite a few sheets. I think there's 2 sheets of everything. Let me give this one here. And then we have some vellum, and there's clear embossing on the vellum also, 2 sheets of those. And then we have some watercolor paper, same thing, they're just all die cut, and they're clear embossed so that we can color. So let me go ahead and bring out what I need for card number 1. So again, I'm using this label shape on all 3 cards and the same sentiment with Stays On ink. So for the first card, I'm using Thick Whisper White. And for those of you just coming in, I don't have my iPad today, so I can't see you. I can't see what you're writing. So I will go back and look at all the comments once my video is over with. Thick Whisper White, 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5.5. I really like using the Thick Whisper White for my card bases because the cards just stand up so much better. Here's one of the labels that I've already cut out. And then we have these pretty flowers from the elements that I just showed you. Here's my first card. pretty simple. And we're also adding red rhinestone jewels. So let me go ahead and stamp the sentiment. Now I just need something dark so I can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to put a mat underneath. I'm going to ink up the sentiment. Isn't that a pretty font? I love the healing part of it. It's so pretty. Now let's go ahead and bring in some stamping dimensionals. I'm going to put that on the back of the label. I hate not being able to see you guys. I know you're there though, because I can see you on my phone. Okay, so we're going to do white on white. And I'm going to bring this down about a little over an inch. I want it off center. And then what I'm going to do is add liquid glue to one of these. I'm just going to sneak that under the label. And then we're going to use dimensionals for the second one. So you can see how easy this card is already. Now I use the opposite flower to this one only because there's only 2 of each. So let me just turn this just a little to get that to fit in there. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some rhinestone jewels. We got to have some bling. Now normally when I do my stepped up cards, I don't do bling on the first card. But today I am. So I'm just going to add a cluster of 3 at the bottom. And then there's 2 at the top. So there's card number 1. And you can see how pretty those elements are. They make such a pretty card. Now let me go ahead and get set up for card number 2. So we're going to use the same label. This time I'm only using one of the die cuts. I've gone ahead and used the swirly die. I call this a swirly die just because of all the swirls. I've cut that ahead of time with basic black. And these are all the leaves from the watercolor that I showed you. I went ahead and popped them out. So again, we're stepping card number 1 up. So we're using the same thing, thick whisper white, 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5.5. So I've been working on my Merry Christmas Club for next month all day today. So I'm almost ready for that one too. Now next up, what I'm going to do, step it up from number 1. I'm going to add a layer of embossing. So I'm just adding one simple layer. This one measures 5 inches by 3 3/4. I've gone ahead and embossed it with the new Parisian embossing folder. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that in place with dimensionals. So just adding the layer of embossing really adds a lot, and I'm going to bring the card in once I glue this in place. That's going to go right in the center. And when I do white on white or tone on tone, I like to use dimensionals just so that it pops a little bit and it stands out more. So this is card number 2. You can see we use the same label, the same die cut, but I added some of the leaves this time. Now what I'm going to do with the leaves is use the blender. I'm using the Mossy Meadow Light. And I just want to make sure that I have the clear embossing on the top. Now what's really great about this, it looks kind of blurry there, but once that starts drying, the lines stand out even more. So I'm going to color all 5 of these leaves. And they color really nicely with the blends markers. Like I said, I just need to make sure that the embossing is showing on the top. So you can see as this is drying, the veins of the leaves are starting to stand out more. Okay, one more. So you can do the same thing with the vellum ones. You can color with your blends markers. Okay, so now I'm ready to go ahead and do the stamping, the same as card number 1. Here's my mat. But first, I'm going to go ahead and glue the little swirly in place. Let me bring the card in so you can see it. So now, if you were working on this and you wanted to step up this card, what kind of things could you add to it? There's so much you can add with the Poppy Bundle. The Poppy Bundle has lots of products you can use. We've got sequins, we've got the die cuts, the 2 stamp sets, ribbon, designer paper. Okay, so now this is going to go over the label, or the swirly. We're going to do the same thing with the flower. Now this time what I did is I flipped it over so the leaves are facing upwards instead of down like this one was. So I just changed it up just a tad. And I'm also adding a linen bow thread. I'm going to get that ready ahead of time because I'm going to glue the leaves down first. Now, you've watched me do bows before. I don't like big bows, so I always tighten and pull in and tighten and pull in until I get the size that I want. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. So there's my bow. And now we can go ahead and add glue to all of the leaves. And I'm going to tuck those in place. And the thing is with the stamp set, if you don't have these elements, you can create your own leaves. There's a leaf right in the stamp set along with the die that you can cut out. Okay, so you can see how simple. I'm just tucking and pressing down to glue them in place. Now I just need to scoot over to my table to get my glue dots. I've got projects going everywhere in my room. So all I did was scrunch one of these up and I'm gonna press the bow in place. Now we need to do the bling. The last step is adding the bling. So I'm just gonna add 2 down here and 1 up here. So there's card number 2. So again, we've gone from a plain and simple, and then we added embossing, we added some die cut leaves, and the swirl in the background. So now let's start out with card number 3. Now this one, I'm going to be adding designer paper. This is card number 3. Again, you're using the same elements, but I've added some vellum. I've added one of the circle die cuts, the scallop, and then some of the red ribbon. Same size cardstock, 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. And then I've cut 2 pieces of designer paper, the one with the stripes, and this is from the Poppy designer paper. This is 4 by 3 1/4, and then 4 by 2. I haven't even had to dig out my snail till now because everything else was die cut, so we glued with liquid glue. I'm going to add this to the top of the card, leaving a 1/4 inch all around. And then this piece is going to go on the bottom. Same thing, leaving a 1/4 inch all around. Next, we're going to add this cute little scallop layer. And that's going to go right at the top of the red layer. Next, I'm going to add the ribbon. Now, this ribbon is the double stitch satin ribbon, and it's in real red. So let me wrap that around the card. See if we can make a pretty bow. Again, I never cut my ribbon off of my spool. I work off of my spool and then cut it off when I'm done. That way I don't waste any ribbon. Okay, so I'm going to pull that tight, and then I'm going to bring them in just a little bit to shorten up my loops. And cut this at an angle. Shorten this one up a little bit. And then what I did on this, I moved it over so that it was way on the edge of the card. And then I'm going to cheat, and you've seen me do this before. I'm going to add a glue dot right under the bow so that my ribbon stays in place. So now we need to go ahead and stamp the sentiment the same way we did the other two. So there's my third label. And then I'm also using one of these circles, but it's too small to layer. So what I did is I actually cut it in half. And then I added snail to the top and the bottom. Oops, I need more snail. I always come prepared. I usually have one ready. Now what I did, let me take this out, is I actually just took the half and made it stick out just a little bit on the top and the bottom. And nobody knows that the piece was cut in half. And then we're going to glue that in place with dimensionals. I'm so sorry I can't see you guys. I hope you like what I'm doing so far. I can't even see if I get hearts. You guys always give me a bunch of hearts when you like my projects. One more. Okay, so now this is going to go centered and at the top. And now we're going to go ahead and glue the same flower die cut. I think my ribbon's a little too long. Let me see if I can shorten it up some more. Okay, so this is going to go right here. And then let's see what we got. We've got leaves missing. Where did they all go? Okay, I had two of these. So again, I'm going to go ahead and color. Let me see if I can find another of the big leaves. Yep, there it is. Maybe I think I only had one of those ready because I colored it for card number 2 and I ended up not using it. So we're going to go ahead and color. So there's 2 sizes of leaves on the die cut sheet. Or actually 3. There's a small and a large and then one of these funky looking ones. Okay, now we're ready to, oh, one more. I missed this little one. Now I'm ready to glue everything down. Oh, I know why I only had one leaf. I only need one. I thought this was a large leaf, but they're 2 little ones. So I need 2 of those, and I need 1 of those, and then I need 4 vellum. There's 2. Let me see if I can grab 2 more. They're here somewhere. I just can't see them. They blend in with my mat. And on the vellum ones, I did not color those ones. Okay, so now let's go ahead and tuck this big one. And then we've got 2 up here. And then for the vellum ones, what I did is I used my glue dots. I'm going to layer 1 on top. And I've got another one here off to the side. Only a few more left to go, and then I will be doing the rhinestones, and that will complete card number 3. There's another vellum. And then here's my last one. Okay, now let's bring in the bling. We need to have some bling. So this time I opted to add the bling to the designer paper instead of the sentiment layer. I'm going to do a lot of bling on this one. I love the red rhinestones. They stand out so well, especially against the old olive background. And there we go. There's card number 3. So let me bring them all back in. And let's go over what we did. So we have the clean and simple white. We added some embossing to card number 2. We added the swirl background, some die cut leaves. And on the third one, we added some designer paper, some red ribbon, vellum leaves, some more labels. So you can see how you can start out, and you could have started out card number 1 the same way without gluing everything down, and then add your designer paper and just keep adding. That's the best way to do it. So now let me go ahead and clear my counter, and I'm going to show you some swap cards. And they're all from demonstrators. Let me just get rid of my ink so I don't get anything full of ink. Okay, so I'm going to do these by piles like I did the other day with the stamp sets. So the first 2 are using Timeless Tropical. And let me see. I'm trying to think why. Oh, and this one here. No, let me move that over. I'm losing my train of thought. Okay, so the first one is from Gail Smith. She used the Timeless Tropical along with the designer paper that matches. And this is a Z-fold card. So very simple Z-fold with a small panel on the front. Next up is again with the Timeless Tropical from Heather Guerrero. And she used the designer paper along with our new ribbon, the new embossing folder, and then this pretty label. And then the champagne rhinestone jewels in the center. Next stamp set is Music from the Heart. I have one using that. And this one is from Rachel Trott. And you can see that she did a little wash in the background with an aqua painter. And then did some cutting with the guitar and the little sentiment. Really cute. This was ribbon that was in the holiday catalog that carried over. Next, I have 2 cards using the Bonanza Buddies suite. The first one is from Kim Vogel. And she used a lot of the designer paper, the crinkled ribbon, the little pom-pom right here, and then the cute designer paper, the line from the designer paper. And that's the stamp set that I had used for my swap card. So this one is mine, with the new 3D embossing folder that you can earn for free during celebration. And then I cut the little, I called him a pelican in my last video, and I totally blew that. And then I add a little pom-pom for the hat. Let me bring in another pile. Now I have 2 cards. It took me a while to figure out where the image came from because I hadn't used it yet. So 2 of cards using the same. This one is from Tamara Davis, and this one, or Tamara Davis, and this one is from Shelley Pratt. So this is not a stamped image. This is from the, oh, I can't remember what it's called, the Country Club designer paper. So look at the pretty images on the back, and that's what was used on the front of both of these cards, layered with the designer paper. Isn't that pretty? It looks like a stamped image, and you could actually color that also. Now these cards, I do not have the stamp sets yet, so I'm just going to turn to the page so I can tell you what they are. The first card is the Forever Blossoms, and this one is from Marianne Rossiter. And she used the Parisian embossing folder on the back and did some coloring of the flower with some rhinestone jewels. The next one is the last A Lifetime stamp set with this large sentiment. And then she did some of the die cutting in the corner and the embossing. And this is from Olivia Studley. So pretty label shape and pretty sentiment to go with it. Let's see what my next one is. The next one is, I have 2 cards from the Witticisms. I don't have this one yet. I love the sentiments. They're so cute. So the first one is thank you very much. And I don't know who made this one. There was no name on this one. But she used the subtle background. She's got one of the large background stamps in the back there with the gold twine. The next one is Melissa Tabb. Talk about awesome. Isn't that cute? I love that. I love that she did the die cut circle, and this is a gatefold. Opens up this way. Okay, let me move my catalog. And lastly, because I featured, oh, actually, no, not lastly. I've got one more, the Heartfelt. I've got 2 with the Heartfelt. This is a little calendar, and it's actually an easel card. And what's really neat, and this is Celine Kempton, she just added a little pearl. Look at this tiny little pearl, and that's what holds up, whoops. That's what holds up the easel, just that little tiny pearl. And you could always stamp something up the front there. But she used the coordinating designer paper, and the calendar's right on the front. And then this one is from Kathy Miller. So I like the shimmer in the back of the, she layered all of the hearts and then with the heart doily, and then our faceted gems. She also used the subtle embossing folder on the background. And now for the last set, because I featured the poppy, I kept these for last. So we've got the painted poppies and the peaceful moments. So these go together. Now I can figure out why I had taken out the layered with kindness, because the first card uses this label right here. So my first card using that is Marcia Gay, and this is a joy fold. I made one of those today for one of my teams I'm on. I love what she did with the paper in the back. That is so pretty, and then the silver foil to outline it. This one is from Heather Brecken, again with the subtle embossing folder, and then the poppies on the bottom like that. That's so cute. And then just a little bit of ribbon in the center. I've got 5 cards using the poppy set. This one is from Rhea Hughes. I like the way she put the vertical ribbon going this way. That looks nice. And then offset all the red with the old olive colors to match the designer paper. This one is from Ann Olson. And again, the 2 layers of designer paper. And isn't that funny that I made a card using the same paper without knowing that's what she used on this one, except I reversed them. And she used the punch and layered. And my last one is from Barb Gonzalez. She used the leaf punch to add some gold leaves and then some green colored leaves, the designer paper on the back, and then this is white embossed. The sentiment is white embossed. So those are all of the swap cards. I'll have more to show you next time I'm live, which will be Sunday. So let me just bring my cards back in. So this was card number 1, card number 2, and card number 3. So thanks so much for joining me, everyone. I hope to see you again on Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on my Debbie's Designs page. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the cards and the swap cards. Have a good day.